Hi, everyone. It's the Movie Night Society, and we're back. Uh, Last time we talked about Rocky 4, and we said that we were going to do the director's cut of Rocky 4 because neither of us have seen it or had seen it.
Hmm.
And yeah, we're going to talk about that today. We're not going to break down Rocky 4, like the plot and everything, again. So if you want that, go and watch our review on Rocky 4.
Check it out.
Uh, and
Yeah.
yeah, we're just going to be mainly talking about like the differences between the two cuts. Uh, Sylvester Stallone, I think, has said many times that like Rocky 4 wasn't really done quite the way he wanted it to be. I think. So this is his chance to like get it to sort of the I don't know what
His
you want
his
to call it.
vision, I guess,
Yeah,
more so in line
his
with how
vision.
he envisioned it, I would say.
Yeah, and just more like in line with the other Rocky movies. So it was a very interesting experience to watch this. We watched this together, and I think we both kind of felt like, well, you talk about the beginning, because I'm sure you have something to say.
Well, I'm just gonna basically repeat what I said I was going to when we were watching, and the movie opens in kind of a weird way. Like it starts with Rocky Three's opening, or like some scenes from Rocky Three, and it shows like quite a bit of scenes from Rocky Three before it even like goes into like Rocky Four stuff. It was a little strange.
Yeah, uh, like all the other Rocky movies have like a recap, but
Yeah,
most
but
of
just
them
like the
don't go on for like.
No, they usually just show like the final part of the fight of the last one, and that's kind of it. This one did a little bit more.
Yeah, and we were kind of confused. We were like, "Oh, this is like it looked like footage from Rocky 4 to us for a second. We were like, "Wait, like the part where he like throws the helmet wasn't that from Rocky 4 or like?" But no, it's from Rocky 3, but it was just kind of like strange because yeah, usually they only recap the end of the fight, but they like start this recap on the first fight between Rocky and Clubber Lang,
Hmm.
and then it goes into like kind of a full recap of 3. I don't know why. Like, I
Yeah, we couldn't
don't
really
think it
figure
was
that out.
necessary.
No, because I didn't it show like 10 minutes of Rocky
It,
Three stuff or
I think
something
we
like that.
checked.
I think
Oh
we
my god,
checked. Yeah,
my cat is just on a rampage right now. He's trying to knock shit over.
cats be doing that.
Ash, what are you doing? Um anyway, yeah, so like I think I like paused it and or whatever and like showed like how long it had been. I think it was like 7 minutes, which is
Yeah,
like a long time for just a recap of just footage from the previous movie.
yeah.
I mean, like I kind of feel like all the recaps are usually like kind of like long, but at the time that they came out, can you hear Ash?
I can't hear him. No, which is
Okay,
probably
he's
good.
like messing with my bag and everything. What are you doing, bud? Here. I'm so sorry. We're just gonna stay in. This boy right here. Oh my god, it's not capturing his face.
There you go. Everyone gets to see your cat.
Oh, he's a rambunctious boy. What are you doing? What are you doing? Go over there. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, everyone. Uh, so yeah, it's like the other recaps. At least they kind of were from a time where there wasn't just like home media where you can just like, oh, I can just watch the previous movie at home and then like get everything I need to know before I see the next movie. So like that's I think enough of an excuse for like why those movies have recaps, but
Yeah, I think you're right.
it's a little weird this time because it's like I feel like everyone knows the Rocky films at this point. Anyone who's going to see a recut of Rocky 4 is going to know like Rocky 1 and through 3.
Yeah, I agree. So yes, it's kind of a just strange decision. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us thought it was needed. Could have just shown like the last fight between Rocky and Clubber Lang, like the original version did, and that would have been just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, to quote what you said, or I don't know if you want to say it. that this movie had a
Some pacing issues.
Rocky. No.
Oh, I couldn't even remember.
You
It did have
you
the pacing issues at the beginning, though.
Yeah,
It had
but you said like, yeah, you
a
say it.
rocky start. That's true. I did say that.
Yeah, it really did though, because like after the recap, it goes to like the title, and then it goes to the part in Rocky 4 where Apollo is like in the pool and like seeing on the news about about Drago, and that's like when he gets, he gets the decision to like fight him. It's weird. It's like I don't know why they started off the Rocky 4 stuff with Apollo. I get it. He dies in this movie. Spoilers, I guess. But it's like it's just strange. Like I wish it started off with Rocky and then went into Apollo. It felt like a weird,
Yeah.
like the pacing felt weird
Yeah.
in the beginning. After a certain point, I think the pacing got a lot better.
I thought for me, when we got to the Drago versus Apollo stuff, the pacing felt a little bit better. I think that's what
Yeah,
I said. We were also surprised that they kept, I think, like the whole song,
yeah, for living in America.
yeah, in the movie. It sure seemed like it was the entire song. I thought for sure that was going to get cut back.
Yeah. We have to mention that the robot is not in this version at all.
Yeah, I
Which
think that you told me that before we watched it, so I
Yeah,
wasn't
and
expecting a robot.
it's not a surprise, like really, like this like serious recut of Rocky 4. Like, did anyone expect it to have the robot?
Yeah, the robot was always kind of
A
very
weird thing.
silly.
Yeah. And that's the thing with this movie is like it's not silly. It doesn't feel like cartoonish, I guess, like for lack of a better word, like the original cut. It does really feel much more in line with like at least Rocky 3. But really, I don't know, it felt closer in tone, to Rocky 2 uh than I thought it would. It felt more serious. There were
Yeah,
some
it definitely felt
good scenes thrown in.
much more tonally similar to the first two. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, not the plot really isn't changed at all. It's just like added scenes and sort of like additional lines of dialogue, stuff like that. Like after Apollo goes to talk to Rocky and Adrian and Polly, like about like I want to fight Ivan, and there's a scene where like Adrian gets up from the table to like get some food or whatever drinks for them, and Rocky goes into the kitchen with her and like talks to her uh about like Apollo's thinking and decision like here. I thought that was a good scene. Like all the scenes with Adrian in this I thought were really good.
Yeah, I was happy we got more Adrian scenes because it definitely felt like she was not given a whole lot in Rocky 4.
Yeah, she felt very sidelined. But in this version it's like, oh, there's a lot more drama and there's a lot more of like kind of like the Rocky character I felt again.
Yeah.
It's like that likable character that I felt was like kind of missing from Rocky 4, like the original cut. Uh yeah, I mean like what else was there? There's a lot more like I feel like they made Ivan more of a character in this. He didn't feel just like I am bad guy, like fear me.
I will
Felt
break you.
Yeah, if I mean like the lines are still there,
Yeah. I
which is
thought
nice.
did he have any additional lines?
I feel like there was at
Or at
least
least
like a
some scenes?
couple.
I thought so
I'm trying to
too.
remember.
Because I'm definitely agreeing that he felt a little bit more fleshed out in this version, more like a human than a robot.
Yeah, I think it's just like the overall kind of tone and the way they present him,
Yeah.
and the way they pace him. But he still kind of like has the general, sort of like stoic, sort of presence
Oh
and like
yeah, yeah,
the
that hasn't changed.
yeah, and the physicality is like still just like he's like a machine in that way. But I don't know, there was something a bit more. He felt more sympathetic in this one in a way. He felt a little bit more like he had his own drive, and didn't like just want to be kind of like this puppet, like this political puppet, essentially. It was interesting. I'm trying to think of what else there was. We watched this like a couple days ago, so I'm just trying to like refresh my mind, like everything. Um, did was the scene with Duke, like Apollo's trainer? I feel like there was more with him in this movie, like just like an additional bit. Am I wrong?
No, the funeral for Apollo was like quite a bit different in this version,
Oh yeah,
where
I
we had
really liked
Duke
that.
talk at the beginning, and then
Yeah,
we get it like a definitely a different take of when Rocky speaks at the funeral. So the funeral was like that was way different in this because I don't think Duke
yeah.
talked at all in the original version. I think it was just Rocky, um, and I would say I liked the funeral more in this cut. I don't
Oh
know how you
yeah,
feel. I thought that was
definitely.
definitely done better. It makes sense getting to see Duke speak at Apollo's funeral because, as we learn in this movie, he's like, I basically raised Apollo. He's like my son. So I liked getting to see him speak about Apollo at the funeral. And then in the original, like Rocky speaks at the funeral, but he keeps his composure and you can tell like he's upset at the in the funeral, but you know, like I said, he keeps his composure. Doesn't show like a whole lot of emotion, but in this version, he's kind of breaking down. He's just like he Paulo gave me everything. He gave me a shot when no one else does, and he's pretty much like
Yeah, I
crying throughout his speech uh, about Apollo, and it just feels a lot more human.
yeah, I loved that
That was
speech.
really
Like it
good.
was so I feel like it really needed that to
Hmm.
just make Apollo's death feel more just like impactful.
Yeah, because especially like the we get the funeral right after Apollo dies. Like Apollo goes down and everything. Everyone rushes him to see if he's okay, and then it just like okay, like slowly like fades to the funeral, and like Rocky's original speech like doesn't last very long, and it's just like okay, that happened. Now it's time to like start training to avenge Apollo, and you just don't get like enough time to really have it sink in. But I'd say in this version, it goes on a little bit longer too, so it feels more impactful. It feels like it's a little bit like more real. You know what I mean? Than when it
Yeah.
happens like in the original. That's like the best way for me to put it.
I mean, definitely just like everything in this movie kind of felt more real and grounded.
Hmm.
Uh I mean like this is like a director's cut and like yeah, a lot of the plot isn't changed, but it really felt just like completely different. It didn't have that like kind of simplicit like simplicity that the original cut had. Uh and I don't know, I guess we'll get into like which cut we liked more, I guess. But they're just like so different.
Yeah.
Um yeah, that funeral scene I thought was like great. Uh yeah, it really like needed that. Um Another thing that was different is that in the original cut, like Rocky doesn't throw in the towel, uh, and he throws it in. Well, Apollo tells him like basically like, "Don't you stop this fight, no matter what," and that gets him, that gets him killed. But in the original cut, like Rocky like hesitates to throw the towel,
Hmm.
and in this, he like kind of seems to like immediately do it. I don't know how I feel about that. In a way, I kind of liked that there was like some kind of, you know, Rocky doesn't throw in the towel and he feels kind of like it was his fault that like Apollo died.
Hmm.
I kind of liked that in the original. In this one I felt like it like weirdly felt like a Han shot first kind of thing where they try to
Hmm.
it almost feels like Stallone's like trying to make Rocky seem a little bit more, like, oh, he would throw in the towel. But I don't know. I kind of feel like Rocky maybe wouldn't throw in the towel. Like I feel
Yeah,
like
I
that's still
agree.
in Rocky's character to
Yeah,
like
because even
do
like
what his
in
friend
the
says.
original, yeah, because even in the original, it's like he was about to, like I said, but he hesitates kind of at the last second because
Yeah.
it's like, okay, he's asking me not to though, and I like Rocky wants to respect his friend's wishes, but he also doesn't want him to get hurt, so that's why like we get the hesitation, and then yeah, it's kind of like you said, he kind of blames himself because like, well, if I maybe just threw in the towel, Apollo might have lived. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
like kind of miss that. But I don't think it was that big a deal, you know? Uh but that was one thing I definitely noticed was like, oh, that was like definitely edited really differently.
hmm,
Uh Definitely had a lot more slow motion on like that towel like falling down. Um yeah, let's see. Like No Easy Way Out is like they basically play like the entire song this time when
yeah, that
Rocky's
went
like
on
driving the car.
way longer than in the
Yeah,
original.
it felt like too long. Felt like a huge recap of the rest of the Rocky movies in a way.
Yeah, it showed footage. Well, I think even in the original, it showed footage from like all of the Rocky movies up to that point, but
Yeah.
it went on longer in this new one, which yeah, just felt like it was padding for the most part.
Yeah, it's strange, and, like, this movie isn't that long. It's only, like, 2 minutes longer than the, uh, the original cut, which kinda surprised me. I thought it was gonna be a little bit longer, uh, but in a way, it's like, huh, it actually could have probably been shorter than
Yeah,
the
I think it
original
could have
cut.
been. I think it could have been, especially with the
With the
beginning having like
opening,
way too much
yeah.
stuff with Rocky 3, and they could have cut this like way down, and it's like it could have been 10 minutes shorter and than the original cut, and I think that would have been just fine.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Uh, yeah, let's see. I didn't feel like the training montage was that different,
no, I don't think it was either. They played,
which I
like
have
I
this.
think, like, all the songs in excuse me,
Yeah, all the
in the
songs
new version,
seem to
right?
be there.
Yeah,
Yeah, they all seem to be there. Like, at least all of the really recognizable ones. Like, Burning Heart is still in there, Hearts on Fire, Living in America, those are, like, all there, No Easy Way Out.
yeah.
Like, it's such an awesome soundtrack that, like, how could you not use it?
Yeah, I think you're right, though, that it doesn't, like, none of the training stuff feels like it was really cut. It all felt kinda pretty much the same. And I think it goes back to, like,
Yeah.
they didn't really like, I don't feel like they needed to cut down on any of the training stuff. It didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome in the original cut. And they're like, "Man, this is just going on for, like, so long." And they could definitely trim this down by 5 minutes or something. I thought that was fine in the original. I thought it was fine in this one.
Yeah, I think it works well. Uh, I like that this cut had kinda all the stuff I liked about the original cut. Like, all the songs, are still there. That's, like, what I really love about that movie is just, like, the songs. Uh, and I like the kinda cheesiness of the original cut too,
Yeah,
but I kinda like it this has, like, the best of, like, Rocky 4 and kinda like the other 3 Rocky films with, like, the dramatic stuff and character stuff. Um, I thought it balanced it pretty well. I was, like, kinda surprised. Um, because yeah, after the first bit, I was kinda like I was like, "Oh, is this gonna feel like a fan edit of
mhm,
Rocky 4?" And thankfully, by the end, I didn't feel that way. Like, I felt like they succeeded in making it feel like
right.
here is, like, a movie that fits in with the first 3 films
Yeah, I agree.
pretty well. I don't know if Ro I wonder if Stallone has any desire to touch Rocky 5 in any way again.
Mhm,
Uh, I know I mean, I won't kind of talk about it with Rocky Five, but I know that film does have a lot of personal impact or like resonance with Stallone. Um, but we'll get to that when we talk about that. Um, I'll say like with the beginning part, I really think all they needed to do was just have one scene of Rocky and like the scene at the beginning of the original cut with like him coming home and like his son filming him. I feel like that scene could have been left in. It didn't feel out of like character with the other Rocky films.
No, I agree.
Like unless the robot was there and I didn't see it or something.
No, I don't think the robot was in that scene.
But it was like kind of nice to have like that moment with his son before everything because I think this scene is in the original cut, but you know, like it's still here and I liked it.
Mhm.
Was him talking to his son about like being scared in a fight. Uh I liked that. But it felt like I don't know, it's like the son got like one scene earlier on in this cut, like prior to that, and it was just like basically Adrian just says like, "Oh, you can go to your room and like do your homework."
Yeah.
Or whatever. And like he just says like, "Okay, bye everyone," and then leaves.
I think in the original too, after Rocky's fight, he says like he basically says like hi to his kid on TV, like when he wins the fight, like and to my kid who should be sleeping, Merry Christmas. Doesn't he say
Yeah.
like something like that in the original? I don't think that was in this version, right?
Yeah, it's weird that like Rocky like doesn't acknowledge his son as much in this version.
Yeah, kind of it. Like just the focus was not on him. It's just like, we're gonna cut most of his scenes, I guess.
Yeah, and again, it's like uh, I mean, with the way that he Stallone feels about Rocky Five, maybe he just didn't want to like have anything because Rocky Five focuses a lot on his son. Um,
Yeah.
and Stallone's son even like plays the kid in the movie. Um, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of strange in this one. Um, trying to think of what else is kind of new or interesting in this one. Um,
I think that's like most of the new stuff. Because
yeah,
I think like the training stuff we said, that I don't remember there being any new scenes or any like scenes that were taken out. And the fight with Drago, um, that felt like it was pretty much same as the original version, right? I don't
yeah.
remember any new stuff about it.
I do remember like in the original version, after everyone kind of like claps for Rocky's speech at the end, so like all the like Soviet like politicians like clap too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah, that didn't happen in this one. They just kind of
hmm
like got up and left, which
yeah,
I thought was actually better. I kind of liked that more. It felt a little bit more realistic and less like cheesy.
hmm
Because like I mean like that speech is great in Rocky Four, but like it is like super cheesy. I kind of like that they toned it down in this one. It's like, oh yeah, Rocky would make a speech, but like it didn't feel like a hey, I'm ending the Cold War or whatever.
because he basically does.
Yeah. uh I'm trying to like it's like it's kind of hard, it's almost hard to like think of things because some of them are like so kind of slight or not
Yeah,
like
like it's really just like
super
the
changed.
beginning is like quite different, and
Yeah.
then after like the whole, I'd say like Drago and Apollo stuff, which is also where I thought like the pacing kind of got better. Like pretty much like a lot of stuff after that um, was kind of the same. I know that we got like an additional scene of like Rocky comes home and Adrian's telling him the don't fight Drago, you can't win. We get like a little bit more of that, which we already kind of talked about.
Yeah.
Extra scenes with Adrian and just I always love seeing Adrian and Rocky's chemistry on screen. It's fantastic. So to get more of that is really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a nice little like callback to Rocky 2 as well when he's
yeah, that
like,
was
"You
nice.
remember when I told you, don't stop being a woman, but don't stop asking me to Don't
to be a man.
don't ask me to stop being a man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like that was in there.
I liked that too. But like after that, it's like I can't think of a whole lot of new stuff that was in there. So
Yeah, it's like all pretty like again, plot wise, it's very much the same movie. Um,
pretty much, I don't think there's like a whole lot to talk about with like new additions or deleted scenes because that seems. I think that was kind of it. So
yeah,
I guess we
so
could talk about um, what we like in this, like versus the original, and like what stuff we might prefer, and like which one we ultimately like more.
yeah, um, it's tough because like the original cut of Rocky to me is like such a fun kind of like cheesy 80s movie. It's almost like one of those almost like quintessential cheesy 80s movies in a way.
Mm, yeah.
Uh but this one was like it really did feel like really in line with the other Rocky films, and I kind of like that. Like even as again as much as like Rocky 5 is kind of like not great, it still has like kind of like the focus on character, and sort of that like I don't know, indie drama kind of feel in a way. Uh so it's like I kind of like that it makes the whole series feel a little bit more cohesive. But again, there is like something to that like fun cheese of the original cut that I really like.
Hmm.
But like all the stuff I like from that is still kind of here. Like the songs are still here. It has certain things like, the speech at the end, but they don't like it's not as cheesy or anything. It feels weirdly like, hey, not a bad speech, like.
Hmm.
Uh so it's like it's tough because they really do feel different. Uh and it's like I feel like we haven't like talked about like everything that is different in each one, but it's like it almost is more just like the overall feel of them is different. Like more than anything, just like apart from dialogue and stuff, it's just like the overall kind of like pacing and focus uh and mood is different in this cut. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like, do you have like a definitive answer on like which one you like more?
You
Or
know what? Probably like at the moment, I'd have because I've seen the original twice, and I've only seen this one once. I probably would want to see it again before I decide. But um, I think what holds the director's cut back is like that first kind of half hour of the movie, where it's got the weird pacing issues and like some weird edits and stuff like that. But like there's definitely so much about it. Well, I shouldn't say so much about it, but there's definitely things about it that I think is better than the original. Like the funeral scene immediately comes to mind. The additional scenes with Adrian and stuff. Um, I like kind of go back and forth with. I like that the tone is a bit more closer to like the original. That's cool. But I also am like you, where I like kind of like the campiness of the original because
yeah,
I love Rocky 3 and that's like very campy too. But love Rocky 3. So it's like I like that we have like okay, we still have like a cheesy version with the original that's kind of campy, a little more over the top and fun, and then we have this one where it's a little bit more uh kind of down to earth, tonally similar to the first two, a little bit more grounded. So it's like I like that we have both now. But I think overall, I'd say like the original is like as a whole package, it's a bit stronger because it doesn't have those problems that the director's cut has, especially like beginning stuff. So
yeah. The original cut is like pretty consistently entertaining.
yeah,
Uh, this one is, I mean, like it's weird to call it like this one not as entertaining when it's not really trying to be as like quote unquote entertaining. But yeah, I don't know. There is something like weirdly compelling about the original cut.
Hmm.
Um,
I agree.
Man, it's tough.
It
I
is
feel
tough.
like maybe if I was just like watching these as like as standalones, if I was just like, hey, I'm just going to watch Rocky 4 on its own, I would probably pick the original cut.
I probably would too.
But maybe if I'm like watching it as a series, like again, I would maybe do this one because it does feel more in line with like that dramatic tone
Hmm.
and that character focus of the other
Yeah,
films.
I agree. Because
Um,
it would like going back to the original, I'd be missing some of those scenes that the director's cut included now. Like, oh man,
yeah,
I so wish that we could get like the scene with like especially the funeral scene. I'm gonna miss like that version now if I watch the original. It's like
yeah, and like the
that one was
scenes with
just so much better.
Adrian.
Yeah, because there really are some like really great scenes in this one that the original just doesn't have.
I'm glad that they kept the line with Paulie where he says like, you know, like if I could just like be someone else, I'd want to
I'd
be
be
you.
yeah,
That's really touching, and like I'm glad that was in there.
yeah. I would have thought that was
Oh,
weird if they cut that out
I
because
like
it's
his
like it's kind of like Paulie's kind of redeeming himself a little bit here.
yeah. If you saw that flashing light, it's because I'm using I'm in a different room and my lights are not all working, so I'm using this like work light, and it was flashing to tell me that the battery is almost out.
You gotta do what you
Uh,
gotta do.
yeah. Excuse me. So yeah, I don't know. It's like, if I had to pick like right now, I think I would. I think I'd still say the original cut, but I will say I'd have to watch it again. But I might like the director's cut of this movie maybe a little bit more than Rocky 3. Just personally. It's tough. It's like I'm just gonna turn this thing off. Uh Hopefully I'm not too in the dark here. Uh it's just like I don't know. They're tough. They're tough to like rank.
Especially after only seeing it once. I think
Yeah.
after like one or two more, it'd be a little bit easier to make that decision. But after just seeing it once, it's like I don't know.
Yeah, because like this is basically going to be like the second time that I'm seeing a lot of these films, and like I'm like, okay, I think I got a clearer understanding of how I feel about these films. Because like yeah, like once you see it once, you're like, okay, I have the expectation of what it is. So maybe if I like watched it again, I would be okay with the beginning part.
Hmm.
Although I still really think like all it needed to like make it feel a little bit more cohesive or you know paced better is just like have like one scene of Rocky before that scene with Apollo, or maybe a couple, you know, just
Hmm.
like something to kind of like ease you in, because it's like, oh, it basic like that's the inciting incident, and it's just like the first scene in the movie. You know what I mean? It's just kind of strange.
Yeah.
Like that's not usually how a movie starts. Like usually you set up characters and then you like get to the inciting incident, you know?
Hmm.
So it's just strange.
Yeah.
uh
I do agree.
yeah. Um didn't like I'm glad that the rest of the movie was pretty good though. You know, like after
Yeah.
once it gets to like the fight with Apollo and Drago, like it was a lot more engaging.
Yeah. That's kind of what we were saying when we were watching it. It's like, okay, at least because I was a little bit. I think we were both like a little bit worried with the beginning,
Yeah.
how like the pacing was weird, like the editing was kind of weird. It's like I'm a little nervous. Like it's almost not feeling like a movie, especially I don't know if you remember, like we have the conversation between Rocky and Apollo where they're watching their like a video of their second fight. And
Oh yeah.
in the original, like that conversation felt like very natural, but like the way it was kind of cut and edited in the director's cut felt a little weird.
Yeah, it felt like it was like trying to get through it
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
It was strange.
was like an
I don't
abridged
know.
version almost of like that conversation.
It almost felt like a recap of that of
Yeah,
those
no, it just
events.
it's the way it's just like cut and edited was I don't know, something about it was off.
Yeah, it was definitely strange. Like I hope that a second watch will kind of make me feel like, oh, okay, it's not as like, I don't know, hard. Like I don't want to say hard to sit through, but just like easier to sit through, I guess.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I don't know. I don't have too much else to say. I'll definitely say like if you love Rocky 4, you love the Rocky series in general, or maybe even if you hate Rocky 4, maybe you're like it's too cheesy, I hate it. Watch this cut. Like I think either way, watch this cut and just see for yourself if it like works for you,
Mm.
cuz
Yeah,
it's
I would
about the
recommend
same
that.
length. It does like a lot of the drama like a lot better. I feel like even if you are a fan of Rocky 4, you'll still enjoy it because it still has the songs. It's still got like fights, uh, and just like enough of the camp value. Um, but yeah, while still feeling in line with the other films. So I'm trying to think of what to rate it. I mean, do we want to get into our ratings?
I mean, we can. God, I have like no idea either though what I'd rate this. You remember what we rated Rocky for, like the original version?
I think I rated it a 3, and I think you did too.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I think I would just rate it a 3.
I probably would too, because even though it has, again, like the weird beginning, I think it makes up for it as it goes along with the additional scenes.
Yeah,
But it's like, but it's strange because it's like I'm gonna give it the same rating, but I'm also at the same time I still like the original more.
yeah, but I mean, like to me, I don't know, like six out of 10 essentially. You know, 3 out of 5 is like kind of in the middle. There's got to be, you know, some, you know, there's a lot of like different variations of like a 3 out of 5. You know,
Yeah, that is
so I
true.
feel like this is just like maybe a little slightly lower 3, but it like I don't know.
Just
It's like
slightly.
it's a it's a it's a better movie. Like it's a better story in a way. But is it like, is it as entertaining or like interesting? I don't know. But I'm glad that there is like another cut now, and that it doesn't feel like, I don't know. I knew it was gonna be fairly different, but this could have easily been just like a, hey, add new scenes, just take out the robot kind of thing. You know, something really quick and dirty like that. But
Hmm.
it feels like it's almost like he edited like an entirely new film in a way. Again, just like the structure or just like the pacing and like, um yeah, like the focus just feels like completely different. Um so yeah, I'd say 3 out of 5. Um Definitely check it out though. Like I don't know, I think you can maybe rent it, uh but I got the 4K collection that just came out with the first 4 films. So that's on there. Um and like also I recommend, I think I said it before, but check out the making of the director's cut on YouTube. And it's on the bonus features on the 4K release as well. Um, Really just kind of like neat to see Stallone just like creatively, you know, editing the movie and stuff. It feels like very fly on the wall, just like some guy was in the room with Stallone while he was editing. And I think really the reason this all came about is because of COVID. Like it was like one of those Zack Snyder Justice League things where it's like, hey, we're all kind of like at home. We have nothing really to do. We can't go out and film stuff. So like, okay, well, what if I edited something? You know, like Zack Snyder got to do his 4 hour cut of Justice League, and Stallone got to do Rocky 4 recut. So I kind of doubt this would have even happened if COVID didn't happen. So I guess that's like one silver lining, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that this like exists. It would have been cool to see it in theaters because like I haven't seen like a genuine Rocky film in theaters other than I saw Creed 3 just recently, but I mean like it's not a spoiler alert or anything, but like Rocky's not in it. Um so it's like it didn't like quite feel like a Rocky film in a way.
Mm, mm.
This would have been cool to see in theaters, but I think it only played for like one day, which kind of
Oh wow.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh yeah, 3. Sorry, I rambled there. You give
Yeah,
it a
I'd
3
go
as
3.
well?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's a pretty fair score.
I don't know. Do we want to rank the films up to this point?
I still say we wait till the last
Wait
one, Rocky
until.
Balboa.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Yeah, give us some time to think about how we feel about the
Yeah,
films.
because we would probably rank it again anyway, like after the last one. So it's just like might as well just wait till then.
Yeah, especially with this one. Like, I feel so. It's so fresh. Like, I don't know if I can totally give a concrete like ranking of it
Yeah, I
alongside the other films yet.
yeah I
I
have
might like
similar
watch it
feelings.
again or just let it sit with me at least longer.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's our discussion of Rocky 4, Rocky versus Drago, the
Yeah,
ultimate director's cut. That's the
little,
full
little
title, I guess.
little bit of a shorter review today, but it's like we already kind of reviewed the movie, mostly just like going over
Yeah,
new stuff and how this version is. So yeah,
yeah. So
just
like if
a
you
little shorter
watch this
video.
without watching our Rocky 4 review, I'd say like go
Go
watch
check that
that.
out first.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean like continue to just like watch the Rocky films with us and or you know, watch our reviews because
Rocky
we're
5 is
continuing.
next.
Yeah, Rocky 5 is next. I'm really excited to see this one again and talk about it because I feel like it's again it kind of feels the most like I don't know. I don't want to say it's the black sheep, but it definitely feels like
It kind of is though.
yeah, it kind of is.
A lot of people think pretty negatively of it. It seems like.
Yeah. And there's like just some interesting stuff like about it and um yeah, I mean we'll talk about it then. Uh so yeah, we'll talk about Rocky 5 next time in like a couple weeks, I guess. And yeah, we'll see you then. I don't know where you can watch Rocky 5. I think on is that on Netflix?
It's on, yeah, it's on Netflix. I think
Okay.
only Rocky Balboa is not on Netflix currently.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Well, yeah, if you want to watch along, it's on Netflix. So yeah, next time we'll talk about Rocky 5. We'll see you then.
Peace.
Bye.